All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, May 12th. We got two NBA playoff games to dive into in today's video, like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so what I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of Sunday, we split. We go 1-1. The Thunder first quarter continues to be a wagon force. We got to keep that in our brain in this series, and maybe even just potentially as the playoffs progress. And the Cavs -4.5. This Cavs team, I mean, I know they're getting banged up. You know, Mitchell gets injured. Garland and Mobley are coming off of injuries, but, you know, it is what it is. Timing is the timing, and this Cavs team is in some hot water right now, I would say. What was the final score of that one? They ended up losing, I think it was by 20, but at multiple times during that game, 129 to 109, multiple times during that game, there were some bigger leads there. So, you know what? I'm all for it. Like I said, even though I rolled with the Cavs yesterday, I am like personally and mentally rooting for Indiana, the underdog, in this spot here. So yeah, Thunder cashes for us. The Cavs do not. Let's do a little bit better today and not necessarily split. Let's see if we can hit all winners today, which hard to come by in the NBA playoffs here. But let's go ahead and dive into game number 1. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get rocking here. We got the Knicks taking on the Celtics. Knicks lose game number 3. Celtics end up winning it, and they end up winning kind of like you thought they would have potentially if you just checked in early third quarter of games 1 and 2. They kind of won like that, 115 to 93, right? In this spot now, disclaimer, if you are new, I am a massive Celtics fan. I'm from Boston, and out of all the teams, the Celtics are my favorite team, right? So basketball fan, Celtics fan, maybe there's a little bit bias in here. But I think we saw that the Celtics are the better team. And honestly, even during the broadcast, during game number 3, they flashed a graphic that said the Celtics had been leading for, I think it was 89 or 90% of the minutes during that series. So my whole thing of the Celtics have been the better team is true. I think the Knicks have been the more clutch team, obviously, and the more gritty team. But I think the Celtics knotted up today. So Celtics -6.5 here in this spot. We saw in game number 3 them not necessarily even shoot like incredibly well from 3 in terms of timing, but from a end game statistic, they shot 50% from 3, which is what we were hoping for after 2 straight games of, 25%. Now, the Knicks, I don't think go away without a fight in this one, much like they did in game 3. They only shot 20% from 3. So I do think the Knicks shoot a little bit better here in this spot. Celtics still win and potentially cover those. So I think that that's where this one can kind of make its way up to a potential over as well. Yes, we've seen some low-scoring games, just between these two teams in general. Game number 1 had to go to overtime, and it was only 108 to 105. And then game number 2, 91 to 90. Game number 3, the Celtics started to hit their shots, which I hope and expect them to do in this game, but the Knicks didn't. And it was still 115 to 93, right? Stayed under this line, but still somewhat of a decent score. That ended up finishing at like 208, if my math is correct. So I don't mind the idea here, like I said, of the Knicks also scoring a little bit better against the Celtics squad. So I'm going to lean towards the Celtics -6.5 points, as well as the over, kind of hoping as a Celtics fan the Celtics continue to score as well as they did in game number 3, but also that the Knicks don't miss 80% of their threes. I think they only shot either 39 or 40% from the field in general, which isn't all that normal either, right? In games 1 and games 2, game 1, they ended up shooting 43% from the field, 46% from 3. Game number 2, they shot 43%, and I think it was 30% from 3. So even last game, though 30% isn't that great from 3 like in game 2, last game 20% from 3. I don't think they do that again. In terms of where we go in like other spots here, I am considering the idea of, and we cashed it in game number 3 there, right? Celtics team total over. That way we don't have to really worry about that 6.5 points, because like I said, I'll give the Knicks credit all day long that they have been the more physical and grittier team, which, the Celtics can play physical. I think we know that and we've seen that, but the Knicks have just done it to another level. So I don't know if that 6.5 is too much. Like if I was at a bar next to someone that was betting on the Knicks, I really wouldn't try and convince them to switch, because we've seen in 2 games now where as the game gets lower and you're closer to the end of the game, they say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and handle this one in the crunch time, right? So yeah, maybe we just root for the Celtics to go out there and score 106 points. That seems doable. They've done it in 5 straight in MSG. So yeah, Celtics team total over 105.5. We cashed the over 104.5 last time out. Don't mind the 105.5 here. Player prop wise, we had the under Mikal Bridges in game number 3, right? And I like that again today. I don't think that I get there if it stays at 13.5. So kind of hoping that we can get, I guess, people to come in here and be like, well, that's way too low of a line, and take the over for him, because he's been right around that line, right? So right now this is plus money at 13.5. If this moves to 14.5, I'd consider it. Don't know if it's going to, right? These things have already been pretty priced out in terms of what's come in and all that jazz. So that's something I'd consider. Another spot I'd look is some sort of a same game parlay with maybe Celtics money line and Tatum's points/threes. We finally started to see Tatum hit some threes in game number 3, but he really, as the best player in the Celtics, really hasn't had a good series in one of those statement games yet. So I would expect him in a game where you don't feel like it's another must win to do something pretty good here. So yeah, I like the idea of at least player prop wise, maybe some SGP action with Tatum, and then to get the pot sweetened, we look at maybe Celtics money line on top of it. Talk about sweetening the pot, guys. Over on Sleeper right now, they do have a Jalen Brunson square for this game. The guy shoots 1,000,000 times per game. I think he can handle a 0.5 points line. I have a link down in the description as well as the pinned comment. It's going to hook you up with that Jalen Brunson square. They also have a ton of different discounted and promotion squares on the app right now, but you're also going to get up to $100 matched when depositing, guys. You put in $100, they'll give you a free 100. You put in 50, they'll give you a free 50. It's an absolute no-brainer. This is the intro deal, the OG deal that they offered, years ago, and now they're bringing it back. Do not miss this. Like I said, you get the Brunson square, and they have a ton of other promotions and boosts in the app right now, and you get your deposit matched, all with that link in the description as well as the pinned comment. If you've never heard of or never checked out Sleeper before, now's the time to do so. All you have to do is pick 2 or more player props, put them into an entry. You select more or less, right? Higher or lower. If you get more right, or the more, I should say it like this, the more you get right, the more you get paid out. And what's cool about Sleeper is their payout system. Each and every play that you throw into that entry boosts the payout in a dynamic way. They don't follow a fixed payout structure. So it's very, very cool. They have a ton of alternate lines. Say you like, Tatum, but you don't know if he gets to 28 points today. Okay, knock it down to 25 points, and you can throw that into your entry. Ton of alternate lines and alternate squares. Go ahead and check it out. I've been using Sleeper for years, and I really, really do enjoy it. It is one of, if not my favorite, DFS player prop app out there, using it on the daily. Check it out, guys. That link, again, description as well as the pinned comment, all take you to the same place and get you the same deal. Description, pinned comment, check out Sleeper. Or use code GUYBOSS when signing up. I'll jump into game number 2 here. Golden State taking on Minnesota. The big news, and I mean, not big news because it's been the case for a couple games now, we still have no Steph Curry on Golden State, which I think is the big thing, right? I mean, we saw game number 1. Okay, well, Minnesota squeaks it out. Now, Steph got hurt there, and Jimmy and Buddy Hield went off. Games number 2, I do think that there's been a little bit of a separation in terms of being able to watch that. And maybe this is just me like trying to overanalyze basketball when I watch it, right? Because part of what I've done my whole life is looked at it from a fan's perspective and also try to like see what's happening and try to predict the passes. That's just some psycho behavior. But I'm sure a lot of people out there, like to do that as well. In fact, comment psycho if you made it this far in the video. See if you could spell it without using spell check, because I don't even know if I could spell that word. That's tough. But, if you like to watch basketball games in that way, comment psycho. Because I've seen where Golden State in some of these, big possessions or anything like that, it's like, wow, it would probably be pretty damn nice to have Steph Curry there, right? Even looking at their, to be game number, I want to say it was game number 2, right? Their first game there without him. Like, Jimmy had 17. Draymond had like 9 or 10. Podziemski had 15 or 11. Anyways, all these guys kind of in like the low 10, mid-teens section in terms of scoring, and it's like, yeah, and they still kept that game. Well, that was the game where they got it kind of blown out, but same situation in game number 2 where it's like we need somebody to just step up, and Jimmy Butler did it in game number 3. But then you have Kuminga with 30. Like, do you think Kuminga's going to do that again? No. So there is this massive, massive gap where they're looking for some consistency. And sure, you can expect a good game out of Jimmy Butler because, one, he's a good player. He's had, 2 of the 3 games in this series. He's looked really good. You can even argue that he looked okay in that other game, right? He shot like over 50% from the field and scored 17. So you get that one constant, right? But you don't have this sort of like dagger player in Steph. So I think that's a big deal. All that to say, I guess this is still a Minnesota spot for me. If Steph was playing and they were down, 2-1 in this series, I'd probably be looking at Golden State plus the 5 points. Now, with Steph, they'd probably have a little bit different of a number there. But to me, no Steph, no Warriors is kind of how I look at it. Can they cover this one? Can they keep it close? Yeah, we even saw last game, but let's not forget that last game in which they lost by 5, Kuminga hit, like, it was a weird, and you've probably seen it on social media, weird that, like, the Warriors are aware of the spread. You see Draymond talking about it. Kuminga hits the 3 with, like, 5 seconds left. It was 8 cut to 5. And then all of a sudden, like, they don't foul with the 5-6 seconds left on the clock. It was really, really weird, but essentially that could have or should have, actually, I could say, been an 8 to 7 point loss. So that team without Steph last game lost by 8, call it, and then they lost by 20 in that game prior to. So that 5 points where they hung around last game, I don't know if we can put too much weight and be like, oh, they covered this number last time. They almost didn't, and I know almost doesn't matter. They did. It's a win, whatever. But to me, I view that as, what if that weird sequence at the end where Kuminga gets an offensive rebound, steps out to the left corner and hits a 3? What if that doesn't happen? We're looking at another win where 5 sounds a hell of a lot different than 8. So it is what it is. Give me Minnesota in this spot. I know that's not the most analytical breakdown of it, but Steph Curry being out, I think, is the sole reason why I'm not really considering Golden State here. I would rather, I would say this, probably take a peek at a team Minnesota team total over. This team I do think can score and run if they need to. And one thing I'll say about Golden State, and kind of give them the credit here, is that there's been possessions where they're able to run and they're able to get out there and kind of get this pace going. Now, has it been for 48 minutes or anything like that? No, these have actually been somewhat slow-paced games for them. But I didn't really think that, they'd be the team that's able to run with Minnesota if they choose to, because Minnesota's not the fastest paced team, but there's so many possessions where you look at Minnesota and you're like, how are you guys not like the number 3 pace team in the league? Because sometimes Ant gets it and just goes. I don't mind the idea of a Minnesota team total over, because quick possessions on the Golden State side of things at times, and Minnesota I do think can run it up in a sense if they want to and need to, especially in what you could consider a closeout situation. And you're looking at what? I want to say it's, over 100.5 for Minnesota team total. Like, I don't mind that whatsoever, right? Go out there and score 101. You want a little bit better of a number? It looks like you can get 101.5, same type of thing for minus 130. So don't mind Minnesota team total whatsoever either. I would also say over in that same sense, right? Because kind of just gave Golden State credit. And again, that's not from a numbers perspective. That is from a watching the game perspective. And you're like, yeah, this team actually at times can move and can run and will get the ball out from a rebound pretty damn quickly. So hoping the pace kind of upticks on the Golden State side of thing, or at least does a little bit more of what we've seen good of. And then Minnesota just keep doing what you're doing. And I think we have 102 in the bag here. From a player prop perspective, I said I wouldn't do it, but man, the numbers still look good to me, and it's still something that I want to consider here. Brandon Podziemski over in assists, 3.5 right now. He hit it in that one game that we cashed. He's hit it multiple times for us in the season, but I do think with a faster paced game, he's going to get the ball and have a lot of assist opportunities. And then I'd also take a peek at a guy that's having a really good series, Buddy Hield. He's clearly hitting the spot up threes, which is kind of interesting because this is not a Minnesota team that struggled with the spot up threes whatsoever this year, but he's doing his thing, so I don't mind him. And then just with the usage that Jimmy Butler is getting, I don't mind Jimmy Butler and his assists. From a Minnesota perspective, I don't know if we necessarily love this one, but I don't mind Dante DiVincenzo to make 2 threes. You look at him against the Warriors dating back to this season. He's hit this in 4 of 7 games, 57%. He's had a couple games where he hits 3 threes, which will be more than enough here. The problem is he went 1 of 3 in 16 minutes in game number 3 there. Game number 1, he went 3 of 11 from the floor, 1 of 7 from 3. Like, he is getting somewhat of the minutes and quantity, but it's kind of looking like, especially last game, maybe he's not necessarily what they need to beat this team. So I don't mind him because it's down to 1.5 for -140, but I probably would consider some of those other props we talked about prior to. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Again, comment psycho if you made it this far into the video. And we got a comment yesterday, and it was, I don't even know if it was a compliment or someone ragging on me, but it was like, these videos are so much different in the playoffs because we're talking about situations and feel spots and momentum versus like number 7th at defending the paint. And I was like, yeah, that's totally true because there's a lot more. And let me know if you guys agree with this. Going a little rant here at the end of the video. A lot more of the playoffs, and I would say specifically playoff betting, would be looking at the game, seeing what is in front of you and kind of trying to map that out for the next game versus being like, well, in the playoffs, they are allowing 61% in the field goal. Like, it's less statistic driven to me, which I kind of hate but like at the same time, because you guys know I like my numbers, but also just love watching. So it is interesting when there's fewer teams left and the rankings and analytics dwindle out. There is a lot of watching that goes into this, which it's tough because we're probably like 51% in the playoffs this year, right? So clearly the numbers over the regular season are the best thing, but it's really hard to draw from numbers totally in the playoffs. I could be wrong, and we've relied on numbers plenty in the playoffs, but what I just mean is there's that extra element that you're putting into the stew of a lot more watching and seeing what's going on. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think of that take down in the comments. I'll catch you guys in the next one, right? Peace out.